The following podcast contains strong language and alternative facts. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at
Let's get
Heel
this shit thing
Podcast.
started. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Turning Heel Podcast with me, the Griz. And with me this week is Chris. Hello. I'm going to take that again because from now on you'll be Chris. You.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
I'm just calling you Chris. It's going to be spelled H.
Over the airwaves and under the
yes.
influence, we are Turning Heel.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
H-O-O-E-S. Yeah, Hughes. There you go. So you got yourself a new nickname.
Nailed it.
And yeah, well, speaking of Rick Boogs, we have a lot to talk about today. Our main sort of subject will obviously be the Extreme Rules pay-per-view from this past weekend. But over the course of the week, last week, didn't we have some fun when it came to professional wrestling?
We did. We finally got to see some wrestling happen in real life. In front
of people. Surrounded by people. What good fun. Because WWE was in town last Wednesday and both of us went to see probably my first WWE house show in years. And other than the weekend that we went down to Manchester, like probably the first WWE show I've been to in years, because I didn't really go to any of the other ones.
Yeah, that was my first WWE show since then as well. And actually, now that I've been thinking about it, I think that was potentially my first wrestling show since then as well.
Yeah,
potentially. I don't think I went to any in 2009. That was 2018, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Like the very tail end?
18? No, it was 2018. November 2018. I'm pretty sure that was my last wrestling show until last week.
Wow.
Like, it depends. Well, I went to AEW Fear and Loathing. Can't remember if that was before or after that. It was around the same time. I can't remember if it was before or after.
Yeah, I think I want to say that Fear and Loathing's in like the end of October.
Usually November, Fear and Loathing.
Mm.
So it was definitely around about that time. But
yeah,
I can't remember if it was before or after those Manchester shows.
But nevertheless, so where were you sitting for this?
I was sitting in the first tier, basically right in the front row. So I was looking over everybody.
So were we? We were first tier, about 7 or 8 rows back, but made sure that we had the alleyway essentially. The walkway.
Yeah. Were you not in the razors?
Well, like you know, like the little ones.
I access it through the floor standing, but
yeah.
No, I was the one above that.
Right. Yeah, but to be honest, those seats were brilliant. We could see absolutely everything. We could see over everybody. I corrupted 2 young children behind me. It was a magical evening.
We were right in the front row, so could see everything, no problem. I sat in the seats that you sat in. I sat there for the SmackDown taping in Glasgow a few years ago.
Nice.
So yeah, those are good seats.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend them when you're in the Hydro. The sort of tiered seating that's just off the floor, like just even 1 or 2 sort of seat rows up from the floor, and then boom, you can see everything, not in anybody's way or nobody's in your way either. It's bliss. And because there was no security around, you have the option to go up and down if you wanted to, like the ramp, which I tried to for Shinsuke's exit after his match, hoping that he might run along and I could meet my idol once again, but he didn't. Alas.
Alas, it was not to be.
Yep. So the house show consisted of 6 matches. So we got to see the Street Profits take on Alpha Academy, and for some reason I forgot Alpha Academy there and popped like a little bitch when their music hit. I was just like, hell yes! Me and the kids behind us all started cheering for Otis, despite the fact that also Street Profits were the faces. We had Happy Corbin rocking to his new theme music. That was awesome, as he took on Kevin Owens. And me and friend of the show Andy were trying to get over happy songs to sing during the match, but like there wasn't like enough like rest period for us to get through them, so we got through one chorus of "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands," and that was the extent of it. Who else did we see? We seen a much better Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair match than we did at the pay-per-view.
Yep, I would agree with that.
We seen.
That's why house shows are fun to go to. I don't understand when people get so upset that it's a house show. Like, you go to fucking Raw or SmackDown and you get maybe like half an hour of actual wrestling in that fucking 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to a house show and you get good, fun matches. Do you know what I mean?
And then you got Baron Corbin calling it Scotland, England. No, Glasgow, England.
Yep.
And then you seen the organizer kind of go, pss, 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 pss. Oh, Scotland. Okay. And everybody's like, boo. And I'm like, it's okay. It's a mistake. It's all right, Corbin. You're still good in Mavic.
Yeah, it happens.
We had... the memory's getting a bit hazy during this point. We had the tag match, wasn't it? It was the Mysterios against
the Dirty Dogs.
The Dirty Dogs. And then just halfway through that match, Seth Rollins wandered out with his awesome theme music and everything. And then this prompted Finn Balor.
See, this kind of irked me a little bit because they were originally advertised as a one-on-one match. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I cannot wait for Rollins and Balor tonight. I really cannot wait for it. And then we were kind of robbed of it.
And we got shoehorned in a 6-man tag.
Yeah. As soon as Seth came out, I was like, oh no.
Here we go.
And then out came Finn. And it ended up being a 6-man, which...
Bit of demon fucking took you over there.
I know.
Better watch your chair doesn't break from under you.
Ended up being the 6-man, and I felt robbed a little bit of that Seth and Balor match. But
I know that had potential to be like, I mean, obviously, like even at a house show, the two of them working half-arsed would still be amazing.
Yeah.
And then obviously your main event, the hometown boy himself. Well, he's not from Glasgow, but he's close enough. You get what I mean. Drew McIntyre took on Jinder Mahal. And that was the main event of the evening. I remember being very drunk at that point and just shouting dog's abuse at Jinder the whole match.
Yeah. I fully expected that to be the main event.
Yeah. It wasn't on other shows when I went back and looked at it, but obviously they changed the card around.
Yeah, what was the main event on the other shows?
Becky, Bianca.
Ah, okay.
Also, we had Shinsuke versus Apollo, which I forgot about.
I would explain why the Becky Bianca match was as good as it was then.
Probably, and like I genuinely thought, clearly this is them rehearsing their match for the pay-per-view, which we'll get into when that happens. But yeah, like it was a fun little night. I don't know if it was worth the 75 bones I paid for it, but to be honest, I made sure I have $75 worth of fun.
75 quid?
Yeah.
Resale market, my friend. It is your friend.
I know. Maybe we should look into that in the future.
I get mine for 36, and it was originally a £90 seat.
Nice.
And I definitely had £36 worth of fun.
Yeah. Jesus, I fucking nearly bought £36 worth of cider because Hydro are robbing bastards when it comes to that. I got four pints of cider at one point after, of course, the obligatory sneaking in of vodka. And then after we done that, I think we got maybe about 3 matches when that ran out, and then it was like, right, okay, let's. I'll grab the first round of pints. Four pints cost, I think it was like $26.50 or something like that. And then I just kind of looked at him like, "You fucking serious, bro?"
Yeah, it's always been the case at Hydro.
So like six-ish quid a pint. It's fucking criminal.
Yep. I just got on with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were doing with, like, we didn't go home till quite late, so we had to make sure to get fed up. So we had a big old pizza. We watched AEW Dark to Andy's chagrin, and we sat drinking Coronas until it was time to leave. And so we done our pre-drinking. We managed to do the obligatory sneaking of booze into the venue because I'm the king of that. And so I was teaching them the ropes.
Also piss easy now because they're not allowed to frisk you.
Yes. I know, they kind of done that thing over us, and then we just kind of walked in, and I was like, my balls are freezing because this vodka has been in the freezer for like a week. No, but like I do agree. Like, a lot of people do kind of shit on house shows and all that, and probably there was definitely that period why I didn't go to them was I was like, oh, it's just a house show, it doesn't mean anything. But you're kind of right. Like, at the end of the day, if you want to see WWE wrestlers wrestle, then a house show is definitely a hell of a lot better than going to a TV taping.
Yeah, totally.
Because I mean, every match was actually like, you know, like, it's better than not.
Yeah, if you think about this, like, for example, the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy, that match got about 15 minutes on the show, didn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't see anything like that on TV.
You'd be lucky if it gets 5 at a taping.
I know, just little things like that. I guess, like, if you kind of put the positive swing on that way, it's like you get to see your favorite wrestlers wrestle probably a hell of a lot longer than you ever would unless you go to a pay-per-view.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of that, the interesting news that's been circulating the web recently about the potential pay-per-view happening in the UK next year. So, yes. When are we going?
I'm up for going, definitely. Talking about being September next year.
Robert, I know you're listening. Let us know.
Yeah, I'm definitely up for going. And the chat is it's going to be Cardiff, which makes all the sense in the world. We tried telling that to a wrestling fan from the south of England who cannot understand or fathom why it's outside of London. And the reason is because it pisses the rain and Cardiff has a roof.
Aha!
It doesn't. Fucking why people can't understand that, I don't know.
Beautiful. Because I didn't think of that at all, and that is a very, very good idea. Because we don't want another WrestleMania to happen.
Exactly, and if it's raining, it's dangerous. Like, we all saw what happened to Mandy.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
That poor tush was never the same.
It makes total sense to be Cardiff.
Yeah, I'm assuming the place in Cardiff probably isn't as big as obviously Wembley, and I think.
Oh no, it's the Millennium Stadium. It is.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's as big as Wembley, but it's not far off it. I think it's like 80,000 or something like that, it holds.
And I think that was the argument was, oh, but Wembley's bigger. And it's like, it probably is. And that's where, you know, SummerSlam 92 happened and all that hoopla. But, you know, it is what it is. Like, I think you kind of had the nail on the head with why it's going to be in Cardiff. And to be honest, they kind of almost trialed that out with the NXT takeover that was in Cardiff by just like kind of seeing like, right, what's the kind of fans like over here? And it's like, I mean, the Cardiff fans were absolutely awesome during that takeover show. So,
yeah, I mean, possibly. The stadium holds 78,000.
See, that's not bad at all. Like,
yeah, I wonder what Wembley is actually. Hold on,
I feel like Wembley's like 82. I read because I was looking into this kind of earlier on today.
Do you think is though? Bear in mind that's not taking into account the space on the pitch. That figure there was because that's its capacity for boxing. So I'd imagine it will be a similar capacity for wrestling because that'll include obviously the it's on the floor. Why can't I not find the Wikipedia for it? Wembley Stadium.
But I think like, and as I say, like with the stadium having a roof, that's going to make like a complete world of difference. So like, yeah, I definitely think that that's going to be the winner. And plus, when it comes to Cardiff, is that even any further away than London would be?
Nah. London is maybe slightly easier to get to. Cardiff's a bit fiddly, but that's really the only difference. Wembley is 90,000, so you're talking about a 12,000 difference, which isn't really that much.
It's not that much, no. But at the end of the day,
to be honest with you,
it makes the whole difference.
I don't think they'll sell it out anyway, so they certainly won't sell 90,000 tickets for it.
I don't know. I think it'd be a toss-up on whether or not it would sell out, but definitely, I think it's something that we'll need to look into and be on the pulse of day one, just in case.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh no, yeah, you get tickets straight away.
Yeah, because if we do this,
I'm traveling all that way and spending all that money, I want a good seat.
Exactly. Yeah. So I reckon like maybe a wee sort of save kitty for me is going to need to be a thing for it.
Yeah, I would reckon probably at least about 120 quid you'd need for a decent seat.
I was maybe thinking even maybe double that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd probably say like maybe 250 I'd say would be the limit that I'd be willing to spend. And then we can kind of work out from there.
Yeah, totally. Let's arrange a turning heel bus down there.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
The chaos?
Jesus, it's the bus ride from hell. And it's just me.
I've already been on the bus ride from hell. That could top it. Which was when me and Paws went to Sonosphere and we got a megabus to London along with about 40 other people that were going to the festival, and it was just carnage the whole way down, to the point the bus driver pulled over to the side of the road and just quit his job. Literally just phoned his depot and went, I'm done.
No way.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. The police had to come on board and everything. It was fucking mental.
Right, so you're probably the reason why every other bus company that takes us to festivals now is like, no drinking, no smoking, no drugs. Just sit fucking down and shut up, and you can drink when you get there. Because every time that I've went to download on the bus, it's been, people asleep or people with their headphones, and that's been it. Like, nobody fucking does anything anymore.
Well, to be fair, ours was a public bus. It wasn't a festival bus. It was like just a mega bus to London, and then we were getting a train from London to Stevenage to go to the festival. So it was just a regular bus, but it was chaos, man. There was people pissing out the windows and all that, man. It was fucking nuts. The driver that quit, they had to send us out a replacement bus, and the replacement bus they sent us was just like a first bus, just like a normal city bus, so it had no toilet, and we were still like 5 hours outside of London at this point. And then the driver they had refused to pull into any services. So people just started pissing out the windows.
How does that even happen? How are you able to do that? Stand on your fucking hands?
It was chaos, man. Basically, they were just standing on the seats and just kind of wedging themselves up high enough. They're just cocking balls out the window.
That's impressive.
It was fucking chaos, man.
I have a feeling that, like, if I was stuck in that situation, I'd probably be, like, pissing any cans and all that. But then, like, ever since that episode of The In-Betweeners, I have the fear of that now.
Yeah, I would never do that anyway.
My cock is cut.
My cock is cut.
So after we got back from the house show, we were gearing up for the big night as AEW Grand Slam happened. Now, originally, me and Robert were planning on doing a big old episode covering both nights. But after what I'm about to tell you, you'll realise why that didn't happen. So that's why we'll have a kind of general discussion on this one now. So obviously the first match on the card was the match of the whole week with Bryan Danielson taking on Kenny Omega. So did it live up to its expectations for you?
Absolutely, yeah. I was kind of apprehensive about it because I never actually thought they would do the draw. So I was a bit like, this means, I suppose it's not for the title, so Bryan could win, but you really want him to go over the champion straight away. And then he said that he's not going to go straight for the title until he deserves it. So you can't really have him beat the champion and then go, cool, see you later. I was a bit concerned about it either going that way or him losing in his first match. So I was a bit like, I'm not sure I'm into this. But I liked the draw. I never really thought about it. I don't know why I didn't think they would just do a time limit draw. Mm-hmm. If anything, I thought it was going to be a draw or a no contest because of interference.
Yeah, which I think was everybody's big worry was, here comes Doc Gallows.
Yeah.
No, well, I think it worked. Like, I think everybody, like, at least watching it live in the crowd was really pissed off when that happened. And it's like, sure, probably at that moment, I think everybody was pissed off. But I think it was more so they were pissed off that the match ended more so than the fact of the result. Like, yeah. Because I reckon the two of them probably easily could have went another half an hour and everybody would have been fucking happy with it. But it's good because it does keep both of them completely safe. Like, how many times has Kenny Omega lost in the past year? Or really since leading up to him winning the world title? Probably the once by actual pinfall when he lost to Christian a couple of months ago. And it's like, you don't really want him to be losing again without losing the belt, is my opinion on it. So that's why. And then, as I say, it keeps both of them good. Neither of them technically lost, but then the biggest caveat of it was the 30-minute time limit didn't screw one of them. Like, it wasn't a case of Bryan Danielson had the LeBell lock locked in, and Kenny was just about to tap, and then the bell went for the time limit draw. Like, the two of them were just standing in the middle of the ring, slugging it out with chops until the bell went, and then they both kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
And so it was that whole thing of, we can't tell who's better because nobody was even in a winning position at this point.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm thinking, whenever Bryan does get to the point where he will be number one contender for the belt, or even if it just comes to a point where these two will wrestle again, I think it probably will end up being like an hour time limit match, and they're just going to go fucking nearly Broadway. Yeah,
very possibly. I could see it being like a 58-minute match or something like that when they do eventually wrestle for the title. Which I could see Bryan winning. So
yeah, because like this whole thing where it's like, I think everybody is still holding out on Hangman going for the belt, and it's like, yes, I think you should, but where the fuck is he?
He's his wife not had a kid. That's why.
Yeah, that was fucking months ago. Get back and hurry up.
Maybe he doesn't want to yet.
Well, tough. This is what you get for being a public figure. You're not allowed a family. Look at the big dog, the tribal chief.
See, I don't think Paige should be going for the title just now, because I feel that Omega has to win. And it's like, well, how many times has he went for it and lost by this point? It can't really happen again. I think next time he goes for it, he has to be winning.
But I mean, we still got a while before Full Gear. So say if he comes back, I don't know, this week, like that's still, what, nearly 2 months until the next pay-per-view? That'd be well more than enough time for him to start going up the ranks.
Yeah, but what he can go up the ranks. Yeah, I totally agree. But what I'm talking about, Omega needs to beat him, because I don't think Omega's time's done yet with the belt. And I think if he loses again for it, it's like, well, I'm trying to think of the best phrase to use for this.
He just can't win the big one.
You're all pissed, no vinegar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're all pissed, no vinegar.
Aye. Like, because he gets there, gets himself up to the stage, and then loses. And they can't just keep doing that. Do you know what I mean? They've done it too many times.
Yeah,
I think next time he goes for the belt, he has to win it.
He's literally been, number one contender like 3 times in the past year. And then every time that he gets there, something happens. Like when he lost a cage and then dropped completely off of the top 5 because of that loss.
I still think,
which I thought was still one of the best, like, kind of out of nowhere things. Because when Cage won that match, I was like, fucking hell, I was not expecting that to happen.
Yeah,
and I thought that, like, stuff like that, I felt like worked better than that big 10-man tag that they did. Because I thought that was a bit of an underwhelming finish.
Yeah. I still think that my fantasy booking for Double or Nothing will be where Paige wins the belt. And I think it will be...
Go on.
I'm sure I mentioned this before. I'm calling main event of Double or Nothing being a fatal 4-way, or whatever it is AEW decide to call it, between Omega, Bryan, Punk, and Paige. And Paige wins it by pinning Omega, and that allows you to have Bryan and Punk in amongst the championship scene, whilst protecting them by not having either of them being the ones to take the pin.
I feel like we need to start referring to him as Hangman, because every time you see Paige, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, really should refer to him as Hangman. But yeah, that's my call. I think he'll win it at Double or Nothing.
Interesting. Because then, like, at least 3 of them are connected then, and obviously over the next 6-ish months, you can start getting CM Punk into that mix, so that by the time that potential match could come, all 4 of these people have, like, interlocking feuds with each other.
Yeah, because
so Brian, it almost comes naturally.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson's already said that he doesn't want to compete for the AEW title until he's earned it. So that gives him 6 months to do a similar thing to what CM Punk's doing, working through the roster.
Like, almost
and
like
CM Punk will be doing that over that time as well. Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like the Kurt Angle and TNA thing, where when they used to have their top 10 rankings, and Kurt Angle's like, he was like number 3 in the rankings. Like, no. I'm not just going to be named a number. I'm pulling myself out of the ranking. I'm starting from the bottom. Give me number 10. Let me earn that. Then, like, he had pay-per-view matches for months that were just him rising up the rankings, beating the person that was in each ranking and building his way up. And then they kind of forgot about it. But it was it was a good story for a while. And so maybe, like, that could be Danielson's thing of, okay, who are the top 5? Right, give me number 5. Main event of Dynamite, boom, there you go. That guy's tapped out. I'm number 5 now. I am number 5. And then, etc., etc.
Yep.
And then maybe you get to, like, I don't know, Ricky Starks at number 3, and that's when you've got some kind of hoopla with Team Taz and all that. And then, there you go. You can bring CM Punk into the situation with that.
Yeah.
And then, Jesus, what else happened on Dynamite now?
I can't remember.
It shows how good it was. It probably was. But the only other really major match that was on the Dynamite was the main event for the women's title with Ruby Soho against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD.
Yep.
This was a fun match, right up until the ending, where it was just distract. There's your finish, and it's like, I guess, but I don't know. I kind of got the kind of feeling of this was a bit WWE here with that one.
Yeah, I got that feeling as well. But the chat is that they're wanting to go with another feud with Thunder Rosa, and they're wanting to try and top the Lights Out match that they had.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, so that seems to be where they're going with that. And the problem was they did a really good job building this match up with Ruby Soho, and then didn't really deliver on the match because that could kind of work against what they're trying to achieve with the Thunder Rosa thing.
I know, it's the kind of thing where like almost Ruby Soho came in at the wrong time.
I would agree with that.
Like, I think they should have.
I wouldn't have brought her in the way they brought her in. I wouldn't have brought her in as the Joker. I'd just had her come out, kind of a la Christian. Do you know what I mean? Or even if she did come out as the Joker, have her not win.
Yeah,
just
like I would have had Rosa win. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, or like even like not have her be the Joker. Rosa wins the match, and then after this match with Rosa and Baker, then have Ruby come out, because it did go very quickly from Ruby's won the Battle Royal, and it's like, no, here's the match, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they did really well building it in such a short space of time. Like, total credit to both of them. Like, that promo on Rampage the other week was fucking excellent.
Yeah. You're not a runaway. You got fired. That was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, that was really good. So fair, total credit to them. But I think that they pulled the trigger on Ruby Soho too early.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And maybe that's going to be a good thing in the long run, because again, this could be one of those things of it depends on how they play it, obviously, but I think the way they should maybe do it is Ruby being sort of humble in defeat and just being like, yeah, it was too much too soon. I thought I was ready for it and I wasn't. But now I know what Britt Baker is like, what she has, and it's just time to rise up again. And so next time when I face Baker, like, I'll know exactly what I need to do. And then even kind of have, while Rosa is feuding with Baker, you can kind of have like a side feud of Ruby with Jamie Hayter and Reba. So like Ruby kind of has Thunder's back without intentionally being partners or something like that, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I've got the card up now. MJF versus Brian Pillman. That was fine, I guess. I was never a massive fan of this feud to begin with.
It seemed very strange and out of the blue to me.
It was just
I could understand it if they had the match in Cincinnati, but they didn't.
No, they had a really awkward segment.
Yeah, which fucking, I don't know if you've seen this, sent Pillman's sister into labour. Did you read that?
No,
like she went into labour like straight after that segment.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because she was pregnant at ringside. That's why.
I knew she was, but
hitting the cast of, was it that
Jersey Shore
MTV show?
Jersey Shore?
No, the one about pregnant teenagers.
16 and pregnant?
something like that. Aye, but yeah, she ended up in labour like shortly after that segment, and they had to take her to hospital and stuff straight from the arena.
Fucking hell. Oh man, but they had Dynamite to Rampage to tape. Hope she. It's like, you can't leave. Like, we've got another TV show to tape.
Yeah, fucking. And MJF was calling himself the creator of life and all that on Twitter. Speaking of MJF and Twitter, how fucking good are his parents? I'm sorry, but MJF's parents have taken over Mizzy's parents.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and then
MJF's parents, so we hate him too.
and then like MJF quote tweeted and just wrote "fuck off, mum."
Yeah. Fucking excellent.
I loved it. Like, wait till like fucking lead into it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, just like, they get it, and I would probably reckon it's probably MJF. Like, obviously, that's just like, make this sign and take it with you.
Yeah. Because
he just gets it so much. Like, it's, I mean, like, everybody talks about it all the time, but like, what a wrestling marvel this 24-year-old is. And you forget that he is so goddamn young, because he's already been in the business for at least 4 or 5 years, maybe at this point.
Yeah.
And it's astounding that he's at this level at this young of an age.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking, he's a total marvel. And he's so fucking talented as well. Like, he's going to be like AEW's kind of like cross entertainment star. As much as Cody likes to think it's him, it's not going to be. It's going to be MJF.
Oh, yeah. And then, what was the point I was going to say there? Yeah, like, because, like, the fact that, like, he also works character all the time as well, like, stuff like that would be perfect for TV shows and stuff like that. If he's on the James Corden show, because that's the only guy that exists in Hollywood right now. If he's on the James Corden show, and like, maybe if he was on like carpool karaoke and he gets in the car and he's like, I'm not singing. And so it's just like 10 minutes of James Corden driving about and MJF just like
that. Even though he can sing.
Yeah, because that's how he's...
It'd be really funny if the segment was just basically James Corden putting on all this pop stuff and fucking...
Or wrestling theme music.
Yeah, or something like that, and MJF is just like... And then at the very end, MJF puts a tape in, and it's like something for Hamilton or something like that, and he sings it in like your perfect pitch and all that.
I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm not throwing away my shot. Just like my country, young, scrappy, and hungry, I'm not throwing away my shot. And then he just kicks into the pure badass rap.
That'd be quality.
Yeah. Oh man, book it. Book it, Tony. Well, speaking of Cody, yeah, he had his rematch with Malachi Black and got all the heat in the world.
Yep, because people don't want to see it. Malachi won.
Yeah, but cheaty make roll up.
And they're going to fucking have a third match now, aren't they?
They better not, because
I really hope they don't. They shouldn't have had the second match. Shouldn't have happened. Fucking Malachi beat him clean the first time round.
Clean as a whistle, and he was about to retire. And then all of a sudden he just comes back because Malachi Black looked angrily at some celebrity that I don't know who it is. Sting and Darby Allin took on FTR. That match was fine. Like, Sting still proving that even that 60 plus, that he's the fucking man.
Yep.
That's really all that kind of needs to be said about that. CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, probably the most predictable match of the entire night.
Yeah, definitely.
But Hobbs looked good in defeat, which is really the kind of takeaway from this was like how good he looked. And this match wasn't about CM Punk. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, that's what CM Punk should be doing. The one thing I will say though is I haven't heard anything official, but Hobbs seemed to stay down an awful long time, like after the match, and it was Aubrey Edwards that was managing. It was refereeing it, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, she seemed to be hanging over him for quite a bit of time as well. So I think
because during that match there was the
spot off a turnbuckle and he landed
really
awkwardly on his head.
Yeah. Because like when we watched it, we were like, "Oh my God, Hobbs is dead," and then he got up really quickly, and we were like, "Is he doing that concussion thing where you're still going through the motions, but your like lights are on, but no one's at home?" He seemed to finish the match relatively easily, but maybe like as soon as the ending of that match happened was when he was like, "Okay, now I can rest because the world is spinning."
Yeah, because he seemed to stay down an awful long time.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think he got up. Certainly didn't see him getting up.
Well, obviously now this is on the Rampage segment of everything. And between me and Robert, this was the whole reason why we didn't do the big show that we were planning, is because Rampage was garbage. And none of the wrestling was garbage. It was the way that the show was structured. There was practically no commercial breaks that were on picture-in-picture. And even when you're watching it on AEW Plus, which is what we used, it just kept cutting to the shitty Rampage theme song every, like, what seemed like 20 minutes. And
it was more frequent than that. It was like every 7 or 8.
Yeah. And it just became so excruciating to the point where, like, after we were done, we were both like, okay, matches were good for what we've seen, but Jesus Christ, was that show, like, awful in terms of how everyone was set up. Like, at least try and act like it's live.
And
that's we just kind of sat there for, like, half that Saturday going, ugh. Got a really bad taste in our mouth from that. Like, why don't we'll nix it and we'll just maybe try and do a general chatter about it. But then, timelines didn't line up, so hence why we're doing it now. The Super Click, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks took on Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. Another fun little match. And considering this is match 10 on the card, including the 3 elevation matches, which, for anyone that didn't watch, was Thunder Rosa defeating Kayla Sparks, Paul White defeating RSP, CPA, and VSK in a 3-on-1 handicap match, and Reynolds, Silver, 10 and 5 defeating Dean Alexander, Kevin Tibbs, TJ Crawford, and Eric James in an 8-man. This, as we say, coming to this 6-man, this was match 10 on the card. The crowd were still quite, like, lively, because obviously all this was recorded in one night. However, moving on to the next match, Men of the Year versus the Inner Circle. This is where the crowd fucking fell asleep. And I mean, too right, because the match was kind of nothing, and it really sucks to say, because I very much like 3 of the 4 people in this, and Hager's fine. But this was the death spot, and I felt really, really bad for the 4 of them. But at the same time, this is probably about 3.5, maybe even 4 hours into the show. And yeah, this match didn't really do anything for us either. And Men of the Year won with a sneaky bastard roll up, I think, on Hager.
And
then the Lucha Bros and Pride and Powerful come out. They take on the Hardy family office, and then the crowd comes alive again. Because this match was like about 9 minutes, I think it was. And this brought the crowd right back up. Just spots everywhere. And the
I thought the second hour might as well have just been the Hardy family office hour.
Yeah,
they were involved in more or less every fucking segment.
Yeah,
apart from the main event.
Lucha Bros and Santana and Ortiz picked up the win with that one, but yeah, that was your flippy floppy match of the night. Also, it was during this point where Hardy cut the promo saying that it's going to be a hair versus hair match. Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans. And Jack Evans is like, what?
Yeah. Interesting to see how they do that. I can't imagine either of them bald.
I mean, I would want to hope that it's going to be hair versus hair, but maybe Jack Evans gets like a shortcut or something. Like, very a la the time Chris Jericho and Kevin Nash had a hair versus hair match on Raw because Nash was about to do Dead or Alive, so he had to have like the short military hair.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something like that, because I don't think Jack Evans would suit Baldy McBaldhead.
No, definitely not. Neither would Orange Cassidy.
No.
Unless Orange Cassidy just wins and then Jack Evans just refuses to let him cut his hair, which is like, I never agreed to this.
Or maybe Orange Cassidy just refuses to cut his hair and be like, you're not the one I want.
No, or he's just got that.
Like cuts off like a tiny bit and goes, I'm done.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think that has potential there, because it'd be like this whole thing where like they're going to build up to it's like, oh, and he cuts off like a tiny bit and then just throws the scissors and just goes, eh.
Yeah. Yep, I'm done. Well, that's tonight, isn't it?
Yes. So is the
find out tomorrow.
So is the TNT title with Miro and Sammy Guevara.
Yep. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it might be Sammy's time.
Potentially. Oh, sorry. I just got something on the old flim-flams. Then there was Penelope Ford versus Anna Jay in a really nothing match that kind of killed the crowd again, but it was kind of needed. So this match only went 6 minutes 45. This still had an ad break in the middle, and then like literally as they were cutting to ad break, Excalibur was like, "Oh, and we'll be back with the conclusion of this match after this short commercial break." We went to commercial, came back, and it literally was the ending of the match. Where like we came back from the commercial, and it was Bonnie already on the apron throwing the knucks to Penelope Ford, who pops Anna Jay in the face 1, 2, 3, and it was like, well, that was absolutely not worth it.
No.
And our main event was Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus Suzuki-gun in a lights out match. The match was awesome, and once again, it got really fucked over by a commercial. And it's like, could you not have even kind of played with the fact that this was happening live and done a picture-in-picture?
Yeah, and the promo before this match was fucking horrendous, though.
Oh, yeah. When Kingston starts yelling and he tries to rip his shirt like 3 times and it doesn't work, and
yeah,
he's like, "Can somebody get this off of me?" And it's like, just take it off.
Yeah.
There's 3 holes there that you can put your arms through.
Yeah. It was just like Eddie's usually so good at hyping a match and running his mouth, but there he was just shouting random nonsense while trying to do his best Hulk Hogan impression.
Yeah.
It's like Hulk Hogan was the Ultimate Warrior.
And then Mox kind of came in and said something. Oh, yeah, he says, Eddie Kingston's the giant chicken to my Peter. And that was like the only funny thing that kind of came out of that. So that was at least a rundown of it. But as I say, like Rampage had the potential to be really good because I think like it probably had more of the really interesting matches of the 2 nights on it, and it was just plagued by these adverts constantly, and it made the whole show unbearable. So now the question is, does AEW do this again? Or if they do this again, I mean, I think they are, because I've been seeing shit on the internet recently about how they are definitely going to be back in Arthur Ashe sooner rather than later. But if they do this again, I feel like they should do it on 2 separate nights. Do a Wednesday night, do a Rampage, and keep them both live. Because I think the Rampage suffered from it not being live.
Yeah. I think if they're going to do it again, they should do a Friday night Rampage and a Saturday night Dynamite.
Potentially, yeah.
And
then
two
back-to-back nights.
Yeah, 2 consecutive nights as opposed to having that 1 night break.
Yeah.
Because
two night break.
Because see, if they did it,
no, Friday is fuck.
Yeah, if they did it as a Friday night Rampage and a Saturday night Dynamite, they could like totally hype it up as like a wrestling weekend and put on like a fan convention or something like that on the Sunday and really sell it like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because as I say, I feel like that was the main reason that Rampage was so like fucked up was because of all the adverts and because it wasn't live. Like, but it just kind of makes me want this thing that I think should happen at some point, because I've heard that apparently at some point they're meant to release that one house show that they done. It's going to be completely irrelevant now, but again, I would still like to see it. What they should do is they should release the uncut, the Schneider cut of Rampage.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe like a couple of months down the line when it's obviously not relevant anymore, but I feel like a lot of people will probably go back and rewatch that if it's in its full form.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the adverts completely butchered it, and it made what was a very exciting time much less exciting. Well, because at one point, like, and again during the main event, this was criminal. When they cut to the commercial during the main event, we cut back and Jon Moxley was just tied up, like hog-tied with tape, and we're like, what the fuck happened here?
I saw that happen.
Huh?
I saw that happen. That didn't happen during commercials.
Like, they came back and they were just finishing tying him up.
All right, okay, yeah. Oh, you made it sound like he came back and he was just tied up.
Well, he practically was. Maybe it was exaggerated slightly, but
yeah.
I mean,
okay,
he wasn't tied up before the commercial, and then he came back and he was. Like, but, and it was like, seriously, I feel like just a bit of Archer or Suzuki going under the ring and pulling out tape, and like that would have got a hell of a pop, and you didn't include that.
Yeah.
So the end of this match came with Moxley tied up. There was one sick bit where they done like a back suplex, and while Mox had his hands tied together, and like it looked like he could have blew out his shoulder blades.
Yeah, I seen that and I was like, oh, see, as soon as he started to plant him, I was like, oh my god, I fucking no. And fucking separate his shoulder blades, could have fucking broke his wrists.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Punch injuries?
Like Lance Archer must be one of the safest fucking wrestlers in the world for Moxley to allow him to do that to him.
I know.
It certainly wouldn't have been me.
And then end of the match came with gunshots. And I was afraid for everybody's life for a second. And then motherfucking Homicide shows up.
Yep.
Helps his brothers in arms. And I was like, I think later that night, or maybe the next night, Homicide took on Suzuki in GCW, which means obviously now this is the second time that AEW have brought in GCW guys. So they're clearly in bed together. And obviously Moxley is their GCW champion right now as well.
Yes, that's about to say.
So, like, isn't it wonderful? Isn't it genuinely wonderful right now to be a wrestling fan in these times and be a fan of, like, all these different promotions that are, like, collabing with each other?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then WWE's sitting over there just kind of fondling themselves like, I don't need anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I was fucking drinking a cheap fucking bourbon. I don't need anyone else. They can all just go fuck themselves. Because
Yeah.
I know that I'm cool. All right, I've got the stuff.
My mom says I'm cool.
Yeah, I don't need anybody to tell me that I'm cool. All the kids are telling me, all of them. All of them.
Vince.
You're fired.
Oh, God damn it. Well, speaking of which, since this is literally the first time since this happened, let's have one very quick chat about NXT 2.0.
Yeah, I don't like it at
Me
all.
neither.
Too many new people. Don't like the set, don't like the format, don't like how they run the matches. I can actually tell which bits Vince McMahon wrote. Dexter Gaylord Loomis. Honestly, I can just imagine him rolling about the writer's room for like half an hour, laughing at that.
Okay, let's give him a middle name, but make it really funny, like Buttstain or let's see, Gaylord. I seen this really funny movie the other day. It's called Meet the Parents. Have you ever seen it?
That was exactly what I was about to say. It's
Yes.
not even his joke.
Yes, Vince, that film's over like 20 years old. What? I just heard of it 2 days ago.
Yeah, I can honestly believe that's where it came from.
Yeah.
He watched that movie recently and was like, ha, Gaylord. You hear that, Linda?
Linda's pretend. And then Pritchard's just sitting there like, that is funny, Vince. Listen to my podcast. And then that was his phone going off. His theme song to his podcast is his ringtone, and it was Conrad phoning him going, so my father-in-law.
Oh, fucking. Oh, it's just that I don't like it at all.
No.
I watched the first half of yesterday's earlier on today, and it did feature the two halves of the honeymoon.
Okay.
And obviously, as you would expect, Candice and Johnny have followed them there.
Amazing.
And they were getting a little bit frisky in the sea. And Johnny's like, that, I won't be having that. So he went into the sea with one of those hats on that's got a shark fin on it to scare them out of the water, right?
That's amazing.
And he went back to Candice, and he's like that. See, I knew the shark thing would work. Candice is like, great. Where did they go? He's like, I don't know, back to the room, I think. Johnny!
Oh, no!
What's in the bedroom? And he's like, oh, God, no!
I love how he's back to trying to stop him after all that. But yeah, go for it, Lewis.
I was going to see what the second one was, but I don't want to spoil it.
Okay. But yeah, like, no, I totally agree with you. Like, it's just the way that, like, the first episode was like, here's LA Knight. He's one of the 4 contenders for the NXT Championship. And here's a guy you've never heard of. Oh, he just beat LA Knight in like 3 minutes. But LA Knight's still going to be wrestling for the championship. And then throughout the night, they're like, Oh, Kyle O'Reilly got jumped by, I can't even remember who at this point, and he's now out of the match. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Kyle O'Reilly got jumped by a couple of guys at a very minor beatdown after all the shit that he's just been through over the past couple of months wrestling Adam Cole, and you're telling me he's out? And then some rando that we've never fucking heard of comes and helps him and goes, you're going to be in the title match now.
I know, it's just...
Von Wagner. That's half a name. I feel like his first name should be Baron. Baron Von Wagner. And then in the most recent episode, you see... what's his face?
Well, that's last week's episode, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, last week's. The little ginger kid that was Blake Christian in Impact. What's his fucking name?
I couldn't tell you what his name is in WWE.
It'll come to me eventually. But anyway, he's backstage at one point after a loss, and then this chick just walks up and then is like, it's all right. And then they start making out, and then we're like, who the fuck are you? Like, people just show up and they act like they've been there for fucking months, and we should just know who they are. Like, that's the thing that's really getting to me now, is just the fact that it's just like, oh, of course, I'm Brad Starkley. And you all know me. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Brad Starkley, duh. And then it's just like, there's no introduction to any of these people. They just walk in and as if, like, I've been here for months, you should know who I am. And it's like, well, we don't. It's like, well, I'm not going to tell you. Just live with it. And then it's like, then they're just interacting with like people like Tommaso Ciampa that have been there for years, as if like, oh, it's my best bud Tommaso Ciampa. And fucking Rick Steiner's kid, as we were kind of talking about before we came on air, yeah, I think you might be right. I think he's winning the fucking belt like almost instantly. And they're just phasing out all of the old NXT guys for the new guys.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my god. This is the closest I've maybe came to ditching a show. And I think it's just...
Like I said, I'll watch it if I've nothing else to watch. But yeah, I watched the first half of it today, and I've really no interest in the second half. If I get time to watch it, I'll watch it. If I don't, meh.
Yeah, I think that might start becoming my kind of routine of like, maybe this will be like, oh, I'm trying to go to sleep and I have nothing to watch. I'll plonk on NXT, or I'm going to go for a bath for like half an hour. I'll plonk on NXT, or oh, I'm going to cook some food. Maybe like while I'm doing that, I'll plonk on NXT. Just like I'm going to have it as a background thing from now on, and maybe half-arse watch it, like then give it my full attention.
Yeah. See, the thing is, with what's happened to NXT now, it genuinely, in my opinion, opens up a slot for another promotion.
Well, the MLW just came back.
Yeah, because there's so many guys that are not going to get used by WWE. Like, say, Johnny Gargano and that, he's away, right? 100%. I see him going.
Well, I think I see where you're going for this, so why don't we get into that conversation we had a couple of weeks ago over the Messenger?
Which one was that? We have
the one where you feel that Triple H could leave.
I was just saying that wouldn't surprise me if he did that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's say that as a hypothetical.
Yeah, that was pre-heart attack though.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe the heart attack came from the change of NXT, because I think a lot of people had a heart attack when they looked at that fucking disgusting logo.
Yeah. I mean, where I was originally going to go with that is I really hope Impact pick up some of these guys, because they can't all go to AEW.
Yeah. Everybody seems to think The Fiend is going to Impact.
I think we're going to see The Fiend tonight.
Really?
Yep, I've got a theory.
Okay.
I think we're going to get Bray Wyatt and whatever his new carnation is on AEW tonight from Rochester. Reuniting the Dark Order.
But will he be fun time Bray?
No, it won't be fun time Bray. It'll just be whatever he's coming up with next. But
okay.
It's very clear now that the Dark Order is in need of a leader. They're falling apart at the seams.
Yeah.
Who's the perfect fucking person?
Brian Kendrick.
And then also with it coming from Rochester and the show being dedicated to Brody. I don't know if you've seen that.
I did not.
Yeah, it's going to be basically another kind of mini tribute show.
Ah, that's nice.
So I would not be surprised to see a certain Wyndham.
Bo Wyndham.
either just turning up and reuniting the Dark Order and getting them all back on the same page, or basically taking over from Brody.
Hopefully, Eric Redbeard gets a match, even if it's just a squash, just for Brody.
Yeah.
Because I'm surprised that he didn't even get an AEW Dark match after his appearance on that Brody show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird.
It's just anymore. He wrestled for a little bit after he got shit canned. He was in.
Every time I hear of him doing something, it's always like something like a movie or something like that.
Maybe that's his calling now. Like he's got a pretty good look for weird horror movies and kind of cults and cannibal families and all that kind of stuff. I feel like he could really excel in that kind of genre. But the last time I heard him wrestle was during that short period where NWA wasn't a thing, so they kind of grouped up with some other company and they done primetime wrestling pay-per-view specials, and he wrestled in one of those shows, and then that was the last time I've heard him doing anything really, other than when he came out in AEW that one time.
Yeah, totally. Be interested to see what happens, but that's my theory. I think we might get an appearance from Wyndham this evening.
Let's see. Well, spoopy shit to other spoopy shit as we take a look at Extreme Rules, which I thought we were probably going to get to a hell of a lot quicker than we did, but that's AEW for you. AEW just fucking takes over everything.
Yeah.
So the kickoff match was Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Liv Morgan comes out with her new gear, looking like she's joined DX. Liv attempts a second rope pay dirt for kind of bouncing off the ropes move, but Mella evades. There's a super kick by Mella, which only gets 2. She freaks out from that because she's beat champions. She has won the women's title with that super kick, but couldn't put down Liv Morgan. Morgan with the face to the knees for 2. The super kick on the outside by Mella is countered. Morgan with the reverse slingshot, sending Mella face first in at the table. And by reverse slingshot, I mean, instead of doing the whole I'm lying down, I'm standing up and I lie on the ground, she kind of, she lay on the ground and then, kind of kicked Mella into the table. In the ring, Liv Morgan gets the second rope pay dirt, gets the victory, and Liv Morgan, who has been getting some amount of pops recently. Liv Morgan is kind of the next big thing.
Yeah. I think she's kind of been hovering around that status for a while, but it just hasn't quite got there yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think maybe this might be the first step for her, because I think this was meant to be actually on the pay-per-view, and then it got fucking bumped because of all the panic. Let's put the tail on Big E. Meh.
Yeah.
So this obviously got bumped to make way for your opening contest of the main pay-per-view, The New Day and Big E versus Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos. God damn it. Why is it spelled O-M-O-S if it's not pronounced Omos? Does my head in.
I think that's just a weird way the Americans pronounce things.
Aluminum
for a start. Aluminium.
Or like when people say the name Graham, but they call it Graham. Or Craig.
Graham.
Or Craig.
Yeah, Craig. That drives me mental as well.
There's no E in Craig.
Yeah.
So there was a calf crusher earlier on by Styles, but Xavier gets the ropes. Kofi tries to go over the top on Lashley at one point, but Lashley just catches Kofi. Kofi is kept in the ring for a while and is just about to make the tag to Big E. Lashley comes in. Kofi low bridges him, and Lashley just lands on his feet on the apron and just like, all right, fuck you, Big E, and pulls him off the apron before Kofi can make the tag. Then sends Kofi into sends E into the steps to continue the attack on Kofi. Kofi spins out of Lashley's spinning slam, but there's still no partners to tag, which was a kind of weird spot. Like, it was almost like as if somebody was meant to be there. So then Kofi's just like kind of like, okay, let's keep fighting. Kofi finally gets Xavier in, who has a great flurry on Lashley. Like, considering Xavier's so much smaller than Lashley, they actually made Xavier look competitive.
Yeah.
Until Lashley gets a standing power slam for 2, which used to be one of his finishers. The old running power slam. E and AJ get tagged, and poor AJ gets mauled. AJ tries to fight back, gets caught in the corner in the old Samoa Joe spot, but Big E fucks it up. So, because they just stalled in the corner for ages. And then he's literally holding AJ in the air by one arm, which is impressive. I'll give him that. But I don't know what happened here, and I don't know why it took so long for E to just come out and slam him.
Yeah.
It was weird. E goes for a spear to AJ on the outside, but AJ goes to drop an E and gets stuck on the top rope. Barely glancing blow on E. Powerbomb stomp by New Day for 2 as Lashley breaks the count. Spinning slam by Lashley gets a deep 2 as Lashley then sets up for the spear, but goes flying to the outside as does AJ. Kofi goes to meet them, but Omos just cuts Kofi off. AJ with a forearm on Xavier off the apron. Lashley takes down E in the ring, sets up for the spear again, but AJ tags him in because he wants to end up with a phenomenal forearm. So AJ goes for the forearm. Lashley tags back in. E sidesteps the forearm. Lashley comes in. E sidesteps the spear. So Lashley goes right into AJ, taking AJ out with the spear, and then E hits the big ending on Lashley for the victory. This was like that kind of ending flurry there was actually like a really good kind of very well paced sort of sequence. That's the word. Brilliant sequence. And considering this match was literally announced like on the pre-show, it wasn't bad. I'm not sold as E as champion though, to be honest. Like, obviously, I do not like Big E, and I feel like they just absolutely rushed him towards the belt for ratings. Literally, it's for ratings because they're up against the foosball right now.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. This is the same thing that they kind of done with Bianca. Of they give them all the glory without any of the build up, and this is probably why I don't like either of them. Is Bianca done nothing for the past year? She was on WWE TV, won the Rumble out of nowhere, and then was shoehorned into the main event because look at us, we're making history, and then won the belt. And it's like there was no story behind her rise from, NXT call up to champion. It was just, oh, she's now on the main roster. Nothing. Champion. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with Big E. Like, Big E lost the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania this year. Again, has literally done fucking nothing on SmackDown. Skip ahead, he's Money in the Bank. Skip ahead, WWE Champion. Where's your story? Where's your build up to that?
Yeah, I do agree with you. I've not watched enough of it in the last maybe 3 months to really comment because I've only been occasionally dropping in and out and just seen various clips on Facebook and stuff like that. So I can't really comment on his build because I haven't seen it. But I can totally understand your point.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you his fucking build, because most weeks he wasn't on SmackDown, and when he was on SmackDown, he would laugh like a fucking 4-year-old backstage anytime that Paul Heyman walk up to him, and he'd just go like with the Money in the Bank briefcase in Paul Heyman's face. Like, that's all he would do. And then even one week he dressed up as a janitor and done it. And it's like, oh, you're going to potentially be challenging for the Universal title or the WWE title, and I still don't take you seriously. And like, yeah,
well, I've always found that everything's just got to be goofy with him.
And I hate that.
He can't be serious. Anytime he tries to be serious, you can't take him seriously.
I know, because like the thing is, like, if you're going to be serious, be serious. If you're going to be goofy. Don't try and like, oh, I'm angry today, and then the next episode, like, like, I don't know, that there's points throughout this pay-per-view where both Lashley and Big E cut promos that build up to the match that happened on Raw, and when Big E was serious in that promo, I was like, okay, see, now we're showing glimpses of what Big E should be, and I'm a bit bigger on board with that. I was like maybe when we get to these promos, we can quickly talk about Raw if you did see it, or if not, then I can quickly run it down.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, I can quickly run it down when we get to it. But next up on the card was the Usos versus the Street Profits for the 785th time this month for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Yep.
The match does match things. Ford gets the splash at one point, but Jey Uso with the knees up. That gets Uso 2. Dawkins gets super kicked, and Jimmy hits an Uso splash, but only gets 2. Ford dives over the ring post at one point to the floor, taking out the Usos. He hits the splash, but he has the injured ribs from being attacked by Roman on the most recent SmackDown. So it takes him forever to try and follow up and doesn't even get a cover from it. No, he does. He finally gets a 2 count, but Jimmy breaks it up. Beg your pudding. Yep. Double super kick aimed for the face of Mr. Ford, but Dawkins pushes Ford aside. Dawkins takes the double super kick. Ford gets a sneaky roll up for 2, but the Usos with the double team super kick, the double splash, it's over. And you know what I'm about to say, because I said it to you that at the time, I can't help but think that maybe Dawkins taking the bullet for his partner wasn't a great idea, because it left the fresher of the two Profits outside of the ring, while the Usos had the more injured one in the ring.
I mean,
say that the best way.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, but also at the same time, it's more than that. Like, it's you sticking up for taking one for your pal. Do you know what I mean? Because you think about it, the whole reason that his ribs are fucked up is because Dawkins wasn't there to help him. If I remember correct from what the commentators were saying. And, I don't know why. I don't know why he wasn't there. But then it kind of adds that he's got this level of guilt that he wasn't there to protect his partner. So when that opportunity's arisen to protect his partner, he's done it.
Yeah, like, you brought that up at the time, and I can see your point. It's just that whole thing of, like, even if that's the case, would you still want the more injured of the two being the only person that's got to potentially win you the tag titles?
But when you quote unquote take the bullet for someone, you don't have time to think about it. It's instinctive. You just do it.
True.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You got me on that one. And obviously, he's thinking about in the moment and not the grand scheme of things, which is obviously what I'm doing, sitting there, fucking half jaked at fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah,
like just go.
Like if you're going to take the bullet for someone, you don't sit and think, okay, what's the consequences going to be of me doing this? Oh fuck, he's shot.
Well, now he's dead.
Yeah, like do you know what I mean? You just do it. So that's how I took it anyway.
And I very much appreciate your argument. I'll give you that. It's definitely just going to be grounds of one of these agree to disagree things. But to be honest, I don't think either of us are exactly wrong.
Yeah.
Lashley's backstage, calls Big E a chicken shit. I know, he said the shit word. Which still in WWE, I'm kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
Whenever that gets dropped. And then, AEW uses it too much now to the point where it's like, say fuck. Say fuck once. It'll be brilliant. I dare you. Dares E to defend the title.
ECW commentators that just unnecessarily swear all the time.
Oh, yeah, you love that.
Drives me fucking up the wall, man.
Oh, you just did it yourself.
Yeah, I know, but I had reason because it annoys me. They just do it for the sake of it.
I know, it's like at least the fact that we can argue we're Scottish and like swears during our sentences are fucking part of our lexicon. Half the time we don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, but KG is a juggalo, so I need to stand up for him somewhat.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree.
He's one of my boys. So then Lashley dares E to defend the title against him 1-on-1 on Raw. Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss, the Raw Women's Championship. So Charlotte goes for a submission at one point with Bliss on her back. I wanted to call it the gory special, not the gory bomb, but the kind of the move that Kaylee Ray does, but without the slam at the end, or Widow's Peak if you're a Victoria fan.
Yes,
but the only reason I brought that up is because I seriously thought that Charlotte was going to go for the Emerald Flosion, or more commonly known, the Cop Killer that Homicide does, where he turns you upside down and then drops you on your neck. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that move is banned in WWE. And then she just kind of didn't go for it. It's like, no, never mind then. Bliss gets a Rana, and Charlotte doesn't hit the turnbuckle properly, which I think made it worse. Because she was just meant to hit the turnbuckle. She kind of hit the side of the rope.
Yeah, I remember thinking that.
And it's like, well, I mean, you're used to face jobs at this point, so.
Griz, come on now.
What?
True, I suppose, but.
I mean, am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong.
True, I suppose.
Flair swings Lexi like a bat into the barricade. Charlotte does the Andrade miss moonsault and then the follow-up moonsault. Fucking Charlotte has been really raiding Andrade's kind of move catalog recently.
Yeah.
Bliss counters.
Sorry, I muted my microphone there because the cat feeder was going off. And then you answered the question, and I'm like,
Shit, sorry.
Right.
No, it's just in the background. You would just hear a second Chris going, "There I go, dinner time."
That's why I muted it.
Bliss counters natural selection. Bliss then counters the moonsault. and gets the code red for 2. Bliss goes for Twisted Bliss, but Charlotte tries to get up, so Bliss repositions herself with a stomp and then goes for it again. Charlotte rolls out the way. Charlotte attempts the Fig 4, but there's a roll up for 2 from Bliss. Bliss hits the DDT and gets 2 off of that when Flair gets to the ropes. Then Charlotte grabs Lily, throws it at Bliss, and then hits the big boot. See, if there's one move that Charlotte does really well, it's that big boot. And I think it just works really well because she has gigantic, lanky legs, and it just looks like all the beef of her legs just goes right in her opponent's face. To the post goes Lexi. Natural selection for the win. Blah. Then, in the post-match...
This genuinely upset me.
Well...
Lexi.
No. So, in the span of less than a week, Charlotte has murdered 2 dolls. Because she murdered Charlie on Raw, and then murdered Lexi in Cold Fluff here tonight.
Yep.
Bliss then freaks out and attacks Flair, only for Flair to get the advantage and send Bliss over the table, where Bliss conveniently crawls under the table for no reason. Then, when Bliss finally gets back up, she gets in the ring. She's cradling Lily to the chorus of "Thank You, Lily" chants.
Yeah.
My heart bled.
It really did, man. I was watching it, like, so upset. I was like, I fucking hate Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always hated Charlotte, but, like, this makes it even worse.
Yeah, totally. And apparently, Lexi's going to be away a while.
Aww. Why?
Yeah. Taking time off.
Okay. Bliss then tries to foam at the mouth. And then she screams at one point, and you can clearly see the massive, like, foamy thing.
Yeah, the pellet or whatever it is she's trying to do. It really didn't work.
Because apparently she was so kind of dehydrated after the match that the thing wouldn't melt. So she was meant to, like, kind of her face like she had rabies or something. Yeah. Was meant to be the thing, but it didn't work properly. So now, as you say, like, Blissy Pants is taking time off.
Yes, she's going to be away for quote unquote a while. I'd probably say to the Rumble or something like that.
Yeah, well, that would be good. A good return for her.
Yeah, but the question is, does she come back as crazy Alexa Bliss, or does she come back just as normal Alexa Bliss?
I think she should come back as normal Alexa Bliss, but then, like, always kind of have the thing of, oh, well, you know what? I know where Lily is. And
then, like, she's trying to do it similar to the way that obviously Finn does it. Mm-hmm. Just occasionally pull out Twisted Bliss.
Yeah, that's a good thing to call it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
change the name of her finisher right enough, but
yeah, well, it still works, I reckon.
Yeah.
Next up, we had the triple threat match for the United States Championship as Jeff Hardy and Sheamus tried to take the belt from the defending champion, Damian Priest.
Fergal, what unholy thing has came out your arsehole in the last couple of minutes? Jesus.
Excuse me?
Fergal's done a shite and it is stinking.
I don't know what it is with, like, cat poop, but, like, it's the most vilest smelling poop that's ever, like, in the history of poop.
And now he's just sitting in a box looking at me as if to go, get it up here. Don't trouble it, bitch.
Yeah, that's the worst part is, like, when you go to clean your cat's poop, they always come and stare at you like,
yeah.
Smelly bastard, touch my poop.
Indeed.
Hey, Bell. Like, Bell was just scratching at the door for like about 10 straight minutes there. You may maybe be able to hear in the background. I dropped something. But yeah, and then she came in and started doing rolls, and it was like, oh, bless. She just, hey, yeah, you coming in? Nope, she's away. There you go. Yeah, just like, when I come into this room to do pods, the two of them go absolutely mental. As if it's like, oh my god, he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's
I can't close the door without Fergal scratched at it. And he scratched at it till I open it and then not come in the room.
Exactly. It's just really weird. It's like, I'm just sitting here, it's all right, I'll be out in a wee while, and then they're like, oh my god, he's gone forever. And it's like, if I sat in their living room, they wouldn't give a fuck. They would just like go to sleep or just sit next to me, and it's like, it would be nothing. But the fact that I'm in a room that they can't get in, they're like, come back, Dad.
Yeah.
So this triple threat match started with Sheamus taking out Jeffers right off the bat. Sheamus kept Priest out of the match a bit later on as he works on Jeff Hardy. Every time Priest tried to come back in, he would just get like knocked off the apron. Hardy at one point hits a double Whisper of the Wind. Sheamus counters the Jeff Boots in the corner, which looked awesome because that rarely ever gets countered. Sheamus loses his mask while hitting a slam from Alabama, more commonly known as the Alabama Slam, to Hardy. Sheamus locks in the Cloverleaf, and Sheamus doesn't break the submission when Jeff is on the ropes, which is good because there's a triple threat match and there's no rules.
Yeah.
Priest breaks the hold by grabbing the face of Sheamus. Sheamus then catches Priest off the ropes with white noise, which looked awesome because, I mean, Priest is a big boy. So Sheamus just catching him, just like, and to hell with you. Hardy hits Twist of Fate in Sheamus. Priest attempts the Reckoning on Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy counters with a botch. Because the two of them just fucking fell, and it was embarrassing. Jeff gets the twist eventually, goes for the swanton, but Sheamus throws him off the top rope. I'm like, why? Why not just let Jeff hit the swanton and then throw him out the ring and then pin Priest?
Yeah.
Sheamus goes for a diving knee and gets it, which I was not expecting because Priest was on the deck for a long time. The lobster kick gets countered by Priest. It takes Sheamus off the top with a chokeslam. Hardy breaks the pin with the swanton, but doesn't manage to get to follow up. Jesus Christ, that was a sentence. Priest goes for the springboard kick, but Sheamus hits the lobster kick. Jeff sends Sheamus out and gets 2 on Priest. Sheamus knocks Jeff out of the ring with another lobster kick. Priest then gets a roll-up for a win. And I just thought that this was a really good match. But why the hell did Priest win with a fucking roll-up? Like, I feel like that would have been the perfect point for like Sheamus to back right into the Reckoning. 1, 2, 3. There you go. I don't like this whole, and it seems to be so much more often that it's like, oh, everything ends in roll-ups.
Yeah, the roll-ups are doom. It seems to go through a phase of it.
Oh, and it's bad right now.
Yep. I've never seen it this bad.
And then Priest and Hardy pussyfoot about the ring and then as they leave, Graves is like, oh, this has been great so far, but there's still a United States Championship match to come. And it's like,
I did notice that, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
That just happened. Big E backstage with his promo on Lashers. Big E says, I will be there at 8 p.m. sharp in the middle of the ring on Raw, and we'll have this match. So, of course, it was the first match on Raw. So, what do you think happened?
Of course, it ended up being... I genuinely haven't seen it. I'm going to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Shenanigans resulted in essentially a double DQ, and then I had the match again later on in the night.
Congratulations. Because the... Well, do you know anything about Raw?
Well, I saw the photo of the Hurt Business back together.
Yeah.
Which is where I figured the shenanigans came from.
So, during the match, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander in the Hurt Business gear just wandered out and stared at Lashley. And then that just means, yep, they're back together. And, you know, all the fucking beatings that Lashley gave them are done.
And the beatings they gave each other as well. It's fucking...
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. It didn't make sense to break them up in the first place.
Uh-huh.
But the way they broke them up, there's no way just to come back from that. That's something you do fucking 3 years down the line where you want to do a wee fucking novelty fucking run. Do you know what I mean? A la the Shield reunion.
Exactly, because it was... Exactly, that's a very good point. The fact that, like, Lashley beat the two of them in, like, multiple 2-on-1 handicap matches, and then the two of them, Shelton and Cedric, broke up themselves to the point where the two of them had a feud for about a month. So it wasn't like the two of them just kind of went their own ways on, like, you know, good terms. Like, they fucking hated each other. And now all of a sudden, all three of them are just back together. Just because? I mean, I'm assuming the real reason is because MVP's injured and is now out. And so Bobby Lashley needs backup. And it's like, oh, here, remember when the Lashley had those two other guys? Let's get them together, and then that means we can have a 6-man feud. Yay! So, all right, so how are we going to get them back together? Like, are we going to have, like, Lashley come up and, like, kind of apologize for what he's done before and then try and get all three of them back at the same page? You know, like, maybe they could do it over the course of, like, the episode of Raw, so it leads up to the main event. No, just have them walk out wearing their own gear. But that makes no sense.
Yeah, it's fucking...
Meh.
Totally stupid.
Nah, the fans will get it.
What was wrong with just leaving AJ and Omos with them?
Yeah, I mean, they were his partners the night before, and then you could literally just argue that they were doing it for the one night. Like, Lashley hired them. Like, Lashley's former WWE champion. He got the big, you know, championship money for the past couple of months. He can pay them wherever the fuck they need to be his backup, to make sure that the New Day don't interfere, and then, or maybe something along the lines of, if you help me win the WWE title, I'll make sure you get your... In fact, you don't even need to do that. Right, step back. Let's do this again, one more time, from the top. Delicious. Lashley and MVP already have a World Tag Team title shot. MVP's out injured. Lashley cannot use that shot anymore. He could give that shot to AJ and Omos. Boom. There you go. There's your incentive for the two of them to help.
Yeah.
It makes more sense than the Hurt Business just getting back together for no fucking reason. I mean, I really, really like the Hurt Business. I'm happy they're back together, but they better do some serious fucking story explaining, like, next week on Raw. And you know
They've
what?
got a lot of plot holes to fill.
Yep, I believe the old saying is, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're probably fucking not.
Oh no, of course not. They're just going to go, eh.
Yeah, they're just going to stand in the ring and it's like, we're the Hurt Business, and then that's it.
Yeah. We're the Hurt Business and we're back. Bye.
Maybe chuck an extra L in there.
Do you know what the funny thing is though, right? I was looking at the sale on WWE Shop on Euroshop the other day. So I was going to get some Bray Wyatt merch and then changed my mind and didn't get it. But think about it. But see, in the sales section, all the Hurt Business merch was on sale. This was only like Friday. They must have made this decision like
day off,
overnight or day off.
I know. I get the feeling it was like maybe they had the pay-per-view match on Sunday and were like, we should probably just put those two back with them. Like, that probably would have made more sense. And then they're just like, right, there you go.
Yeah, I'd be interested to have a look and see if the Hurt Business merch is still in the sale.
Yeah, because see if it's now jacked back up to full price. That would be fucking evil.
I know, totally.
So we'll move on to the next match on the card, which was Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, SmackDown Women's title. Not gonna lie, I wandered off to make nachos. I did catch the end of it though, so I came back at the part where Bianca hits a follow-away slam for 2 as Becky gets on the ropes, and then they start talking about how JBL would be really proud of that, and it's like, oh, well done. The two of you've done the same move.
Yeah.
Becky tries to pull the hair, but Bianca uses it to pull Becky out the ring. Becky sends Bianca into the steps with a counter to something. Then gets a leg drop from the top for Becky for 2. Then she gets a second leg drop, gets another 2. But this time Bianca was hanging off the ropes instead of flat on the ground. Bianca gets out of the armbar with a powerbomb, and then wrestle. Bianca then gets put in the armbar again, and again she muscles Becky up, gets Becky into the position to hit the kiss of death, and then I was thinking something was going to happen, and then Sasha runs in and it's over. Big old.
I'm going to make a confession here.
You popped for Sasha?
No, I may have used this match as my piss break.
Jesus, that was one long piss.
Yeah, it was a number 2.
A lot like the ending of the match was.
Yeah. So I missed a fair chunk of this match as well. And it was the ending of it I missed.
And to be honest, I didn't plan for this to be the match that I missed. It just was circumstance, to be honest.
Yeah, I could have quite easily paused it when I went, but I was like, I'm not really that asked about this match.
Me neither. Like, we literally seen it a few days earlier, so I was like...
Yeah.
I was like, it's probably going to be the match that we seen live. And then at least I caught the end where Sasha came out, caused the DQ, and goes, at least that's different. But... But yeah, like, I don't know. So what does this mean now? Like, Sasha laid both women out after it. She came in, she attacked Bianca. Then, Becky and Sasha kind of had that whole look of, oh, we sure do have some history. And then it's almost like they were about to shake hands. And then Sasha just attacks Becky as well. And it's like, okay, go.
Yeah, so we've now got a 3-way feud. Woohoo!
Riveting. So, like, you haven't even finished that first feud, and now you've added somebody else back in here. Which I suppose you kind of done to begin with, because you didn't even finish that first feud.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, this is going all over the place. And with the draft happening, like, literally this Friday on SmackDown it starts. Like, are we even going to have all 3 of these women on the roster by the time?
That's actually a very good shout. I can see one of them getting drafted away. Probably Bianca.
Yeah. And then
that would probably mean the Street Profits are drafted as well.
Mm-hmm. Or probably not, because, like, for some reason Vince is like, shuffles. Fucking hell. Couples should not be in the same show. It's like, why? You've literally had couples leave WWE because you've done that to them.
Yeah. It depends who the couple is and how much money they're worth.
I still won't forgive you for taking Chrissy Vane away from me.
Who, me or Vince?
Vince.
I'm going to say, it's not really much I could have done about that, mate.
Yeah, because I'm going to assume you don't even know who that is.
No, I don't.
Exactly. Chrissy Vane. She was one of the 1001 crushes of old, young, teenage Griz who watched Florida Championship Wrestling, the then developmental WWE product. And she showed up for all of about 2 shows on SmackDown, right as SmackDown was coming over to the UK. And then I was keeping an eye out on house shows and knew she was doing house show matches. And then just as they were about to come over to the UK, her boyfriend at the time, Roughhouse O'Reilly, which you may know more commonly as Connor of the Ascension,
okay,
was booked on the Raw house show loop. And then both of them promptly left WWE because they were unhappy that they were booked on different shows.
Yeah, I mean, can't see it done business too much harm, but, you know.
What are you talking about? Connor, the big money man, came back and took WWE advice.
Yeah. Don't think that's quite how it happened, Griz.
Nope. Nope, it wasn't. But the
That's
thing is,
fantasy booking to a new level.
The thing is, after all these years, she's still very pretty. And they are still together. And they've got kids. Good for them. She was saying on Taylor Wilde's podcast that she is at least training to potentially come back. And that's when Taylor Wilde was like, yeah, I'm also doing that. And then Taylor Wilde just came back to Impact. So you know what? There may still be a little glimmer of hope in the old teenage Griz's eyes that Chrissy Vane might come back to wrestling.
Hopefully, we'll see.
And this brings us somehow onto the main event, which was Roman Reigns versus the Demon, Finn Balor, for the Universal Championship
of the world.
Calm down, Freddie Mercury.
Well, it was more Jesse James, but okay.
I know. But I made my
if
decision.
If it was Freddie Mercury, it'd be more like, whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Whoa. Dago's looking at me like, what the fuck are you on about?
Which is how the two of them look at me most of the time when I'm listening to my music. It's just like, what are you doing? Stay away from me. My freaking ears.
Yep.
So Roman comes out first in this match, which is interesting. Has he been doing that the whole time? I don't really remember.
I'm not sure.
I feel like he's came out second quite a lot. I mean, obviously, it probably was purely for the fact that so you can give the demon entrance its full shebang.
Yeah.
Reigns breaks out a kendo stick, but the demon breaks out 4 kendo sticks.
Whatever you could do, I could do better. I could do anything better than you.
Kendo stick, 4 kendo sticks. Kendo stick, 4 kendo sticks.
Finn, that's just multiples of, not necessarily better.
Which means it's better.
Haven't you ever heard? Bigger is better.
More is better.
New is better than old.
It sort of reminds me of that Mitchell and Webb sketch where it's like they do like these like fake documentaries, you know, like the ones that's like, the documentary of, I had a facelift and now I look like an alien. So they done one is like, the man with 9 penises, and then it's like they interviewed him, and it's just one of them said they're going, oh well, like when you have 9 penises, you think that you're like 9 times the man, but it really doesn't work like that. And then like you see them go to the toilet, and then the door closes, and then they open up the toilet, and they just grab like a mop and bucket and have to take it in.
Yeah.
Sometimes more isn't there, especially when you do have 9 penises.
Yeah, definitely.
But 4 candlesticks, it did work out great for Balor here.
Oh yeah.
Roman comes back almost instantly though like ain't no thing. And then they start to fight out in the crowd. But just for added effect, Roman puts on a mask. I don't want to sniff this fucking smelly wrestling fan air. I don't know why it worked so well, but it worked really well. And I know the real reason is because stay the fuck away from me. Potentially some of you are fucking anti-vaxxer fucking bullshitters that are like trying to touch me with your unvaccinated fucking bodies. There's a crossbody from the kickoff show table through another table by the Demon. Cole then says, oh, he's trying to get him back into the squared circle. And I was like, that's not a term I've heard recently. I thought that was a banned term from WWE. The second they go over the barricade, Reigns whips the mask off again. Balor sets up a table, and Reigns sends him through it with a Uranagi and a wedgie.
No, Uranagi.
You're a wedgie. Then I just kind of was like, noted that this match is really weird because, like, the Demon is meant to be all powerful, and I just can't help but feel like at this point, Reigns is just besting him at every turn, and it just did not feel like the Demon aspect was really kind of used properly. If you get me.
Mm-hmm.
Roman with the spear, 1, 2, kick out by Demon, but the Demon hits the low blow with the kick out.
Yep. Accidentally.
Oh. A la their last match.
Yep.
Balor with a senton and the stomp. 1, 2, oos, as the Usos pull Balor out of the ring. They set up another table on the outside. The Demon fights back, takes out the Usos, and sends Jay through the announce table, only to turn into a spear through the barricade. Both Roman.
At this point, the Demon activated fish mode.
Yep, he looks like that fish that you gave your cat that it murdered.
Yes. Yep.
Activating fish mode as both men are down, and then boom, 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 and Finn Balor just starts convulsing, and then the beginning of his theme music hits where it goes, and then Balor like rises up,
yep.
and then the music just continues playing, and it's like, I feel like that needs to be cut off. I think it should have just been that, and then it was meant to be cut off, but then it just kept going, and then the two of them are just wrestling like while this music is playing. It's like, this isn't New Jack here. Like, we don't wrestle during theme music. Balor grabs a chair, cheers up Roman good, sends Roman through the table on the outside that was set up by the Usos with a drop kick. Then Balor sets up Roman. He's there. He's in the ring. The Demon goes up top. He's going for the stomp. Here we go. This is it. Sure is taking his sweet ass time. What the fuck just happened? The top rope snapped.
It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever witnessed.
I'm not gonna lie, like I literally went, "What the fuck?" Like it scared the hell out of me. But
yeah, totally.
The one thing that I hate most about it is like it looked like Balor landed on his fucking head, but then like the lights turned back because when the whole heartbeat thing came on, like all the lights turned red, and so we had like fucking early stages of the Fiend for like this portion of the match. So the second that happened and Balor hit the mat, the lights turned back on, and as I say, it looked like he fell on his head, but then he was clutching his knee, and it's like, dude, you fell on your fucking neck? Why are you clutching your knee? And then Spear 1, 2, 3, it's over. Like, and crusty voice, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it was up there with one of the strangest finishes I've ever seen. And do you know what? See the bit where fish flopping aside, see the bit where he rose up?
Uh-huh.
I popped like fuck for that.
So did I.
Because I was like, oh shit, he's going to do it.
That was a point where it was like, I went back from lounging in my chair while taking notes to setting up like, oh, you paid for this the whole seat, but all you're going to need is the edge. I guess you could say I was on the Adam Copeland of my seat.
Yeah, I was totally right away. Like for the first time in the whole match, I actually believed he was going to win.
So did I. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is what Demon's all about. He's risen up, like big stupid, like comical convulsions aside. When he rose back up, I was like, uh-oh. The Usos are down, and they're like significantly down. They've been beat down.
Yeah.
And then when Roman went through that table, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna fucking do this. They're going to just give him the belt, and then they're just going to do Reigns versus Lesnar at WWE Blood Money for just as a match because they were saying
Paul Heyman.
Because they were saying that on commentary was the custody of Paul Heyman on a pole match, or just like him hanging like a championship and it's a ladder match, but it's just the whole time he's just there just like, Roman, come on Roman, and then like Brock knocks Roman off the ladder. It's like, come on Brock. So it's just Heyman swinging back and forth the whole time, just screaming on one of the two of them to win. But no, instead that happened. You know, like all of these years where like people like Big Show and Braun Strowman and Yokozuna hitting the ropes multiple times, and the ropes always stayed intact, but you know, 130-pound Finn Balor standing on the top rope, and all of a sudden the ropes collapse.
Yeah, it's not good. It was not enjoyable.
Was it too much demon power?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe like all that demon power kind of like adds to your body mass. Like it's all the energy around you. You can't see it, but you actually go from being 185 pounds to being like 600 pounds.
Yeah, maybe. And it just...
That's my explanation. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably 1 billion% more logical than what WWE's ever going to give you credit for. So I think I like that idea, and I think we're going to go with that. That is now officially turning heel canon.
Yep. When Finn Balor's the demon, all the energy that comes around him actually adds to his body weight.
Mm-hmm. Which is why he used to be so good. But I mean, It just goes to show that, you know, our tribal chief is just that a little bit better.
He was lucky.
He was. He was very fucking lucky. And then, like after the match, like, you know, Roman's kind of looking up to the sky. And it's like, thank you. And then everyone's kind of saying it was an act of dog. That helped him through this one. So, I mean, right, so What did you think about the pay-per-view overall?
Overall, I thought it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was fairly enjoyable.
I don't think it was a waste of 3 hours.
No.
The reason I bring that up is because between then and now, I've seen some people that are saying that this is like one of the worst WWE pay-per-views like ever, and I was like, I would absolutely not go that far. There have been worse pay-per-views this year. Like, okay, like technically nothing happened in terms of every championship was defended successfully. And like, yeah, okay, like in the grand scheme of storytelling and all that, maybe nothing exactly happened, but like, was I entertained for the 3-ish hours that the show was on for? Yeah, I would say yes. Which I can't say that every WWE pay-per-view recently has been. So I don't know. I would call this like, I mean, I'm not saying it's like best pay-per-view, and I'm saying like maybe about 6 out of 10, better than average, but you know, nothing more than that. So I just think, and obviously it's just this annoying thing of like, everybody needs to compare everything the WWE does to everything AEW does now, and it's like, but you don't need to do that.
No,
you need to stop.
Be awkward and annoying.
Mm-hmm. You need to stop. Like, just let wrestling fans be wrestling fans. Like, this is the thing. Like, I hate as well. It's like, yo, you need to pick a side. No, I fucking don't. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, during the Wednesday Night Wars, I watched both fucking episodes of both programs on the same night.
Yeah.
Well, the next night. But like, because I don't discriminate. I just let wrestlers be wrestlers. And I mean, Jesus, like, I watch like so many companies. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like almost an activist or something like that. Like, just wrestling be wrestling. I don't know if activist is the right word, but I'm drunk, so I can't be bothered thinking of another word.
Fair enough.
Spreading positivity, because that's what you need in wrestling, is just positivity about everything.
Totally. You're allowed to like both. I personally don't, but guess what? See, the one I don't like, I barely watch it.
Well, no,
instead of watching it and then pissing and moaning about it.
Yeah, because it is what it is.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Because like, who knows? Like, fucking, what if we just stop watching Raw and then all of a sudden they have like banger after banger after banger of episodes and nobody's there to watch them? Nobody knows that like Raw all of a sudden is the best.
Exactly.
And again, that's the thing that we always kind of talk about, is like, it's not WWE as a company that's bad, because SmackDown is mainly really awesome.
Yeah.
Like, practically every week. NXT was. I'm still going to give it a couple of weeks. Maybe this new NXT 2.0 might, you know, it's still working on it. Raw, I don't think it's been as bad these past couple of weeks. It's been doing all right. So, I guess, like, you know, what I'm trying to say is, like, WWE ain't all bad right now. Like, I think, like, some people really need to kind of get off their high horse when it comes to WWE is just it's just bad all the time.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
But obviously, we will be here. We will be watching WWE through the future, and we will tell you. Even if you don't watch the show and all you do is listen to podcasts and what people think, we will watch them for you, because that's the kind of guys we are.
Yep, we like helping out the community.
The community. And so, with that, I think it's time to wrap this shindig up.
Think so?
I think so.
All right then.
Okay.
Well, on that note, I've been Chris HOOOOOOSE.
I've been the Griz. Oh, wait. I've been Chris K. Nakamura.
I was about to make my ho very Rick Boogsy, but you ruined that, so I'll just go ho.
No, do it. Do it. Fucking hell. My voice is still fucked from Wednesday, by the way. Like, I went through, like a good portion of the weekend still absolutely struggling with my voice coming back. Because I screamed like an idiot.
That's fair. That's what you want to do.
I mean, like, it was mostly excitement, the fact that I was at, like, not only wrestling but WWE, but also the fact that I was at the first thing in, like, 2 years.
Yeah. I had to get it all out the system.
Exactly. And then Jinder Mahal came out, and I was just like, yeah, watch, fuck yeah. And music.
Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Heel Podcast. And also, don't forget, you can hear our archives on the World Wide Web at heelpodcast.co.uk. Well, that's all, folks. So long. Have a good day.